my name is Mike Stoker. I'm a 54-year-old independent small businessman. 3 times in my life I've agreed to step into public service to get in, get a job done, and then go back to the private sector where I've always made more money than the public service that I've provided. First time was in the 80s when taxpayers and business leaders asked me to take on budget and regulatory reform in Santa Barbara County. I got elected to the Santa Barbara County Board of Supervisors. I put together a regulatory reform package and then a budget reform package, accomplishing both and getting it done. And in fact, in 1992, I was named by Governing Magazine the most valuable public official in county government in America for those accomplishments. In the mid-90s, Governor Pete Wilson asked me to take on turning around a politically tarnished Agricultural Labor Relations Board that had been caught up in political scandal. 3 years after being named chair and turning that board around, Sacramento Bee reported that it was one of the most honorable boards having its integrity restored. Then at around 2000, Secretary of State Bill Jones asked me to step in. We had passed what's called the Voting Modernization Act that required us to go to all the counties and deal with voting machines and implementing a new process to eliminate voter fraud. He appointed me Deputy Secretary of State to get that job done. I've been in the private sector ever since. I wasn't planning a couple years ago to run for this office, and sitting down with a lot of, I think, our local community leaders, they convinced me that California faces its greatest challenge and that with my background, with my experience, I could be a major player in helping turn the state around and getting it back on the right track. I personally believe right now California faces the biggest challenge ever, at least in my lifetime. If you look at what's going on, years of overspending by Sacramento politicians have caught up with us. They have no solutions, they have no plans, they have no ideas. If you look at Sacramento, partisan gridlock, it has shut down government. So you need to be looking at who your candidates are and looking for the people that have reached across the aisle. We have many, many Democrats and independents, formerly elected, currently elected, that have endorsed my candidacy because of all the years I've proven I can roll up my sleeves, work with the other side of the aisle to get a job done. Also, if you look at Sacramento, the special interests have just basically created gridlock. Most of your elected officials, Republican and Democrat, just do whatever their special interests tell them to do. You look at my background, people know I'm independent and there's no special interest that's going to tell me what to do. If basically where we're at right now is we have 2 huge issues. One is the budget and the other is in terms of job creation. In terms of job creation, over the last 10 years we've passed literally thousands and thousands of crazy, stupid rules, regulations, and statutes, often in the name of the environment, but as a practical matter did very little to help the environment, but it's had a devastating impact on our state, on the businesses of this state. Since 2000, we've lost 4 million jobs. That alone equals $16 billion in lost revenues for the state of California this year. One of my top priorities is going to be regulatory reform to send a message that California is open for business again. It's not just creating green jobs, it's creating all jobs. Jobs are what pay for all our bills, pay for our cities, and pay for our counties and schools, and pay for the state. We need to elect legislators that are committed to getting those jobs going again, looking at, like the California Chamber's agenda to move California forward on job creation. On the budget, my opponent doesn't believe we have a spending problem. He believes that, basically right now that we just need to go out there and we have a revenue problem. He's advocated revising Prop 13 to raise our property taxes, and he's also advocated raising the tax rate on California businesses. That's the last thing we should be doing right now in this recession. Unfortunately, the Constitution requires a 2/3 majority to pass, so he's not going to get that tax increase, and that's good news. That leaves 2 tough choices for Californians. Either we balance it by cutting off some state jobs, which I've advocated, and I've said we should exempt education and public safety bargaining units, or we're going to have happen what's happened so often. They're going to balance this budget on the backs of schools, cities, and counties, which mean teachers in critical city and county jobs and city and county programs that help our seniors, our children, are going to be cut back. Because I've advocated cutting the state jobs, again, I would exempt education and I would exempt the public safety bargaining groups. Both my opponent and the powerful Sacramento public employee unions, those special interests, have attacked me for it because they don't want one cut to one job. And again, it's either going to be their jobs or it's going to be our teachers and city and county employees. I've stood up to those special interests, and I'll continue to do so. And when you see those attack ads, just remember, they don't represent our local interests. They represent their own special interests. Those are the tough decisions we have to make, and that's why I'm going to balance those budgets, not on the backs of schools, cities, and counties, but on the backs of state government, where we should be having a state that lives within its means, just like the rest of us. I want to thank you very much. I'd be honored to have your vote and your support.